presentation is by Sakshi Deepchandani. She's a trends and innovation consultant with Mintel. It's very interesting because it says what's hot in packaging. And beauty packaging and hot is really hot. So let's listen to this because I love the way Mintel tracks, and I chase them a lot. So welcome, Sakshi.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in. My name is Sakshi, and I come from Mintel, India. We are basically into the business of market research, but we are honored to be known as world's leading market intelligence agency. This has been possible due to our expert team of analysts spread across the globe, along with our robust tools which help us forecast what's next in the space of innovation, trends, consumers, and markets. All of this combined together helps us provide insights to players like you who are either brand manufacturers or packaging companies or ingredient suppliers to help you stay ahead of your competitors. So that was about Mintel and a little bit about what we do. But today we are here to discuss the trends that are impacting the beauty and personal care industry in terms of packaging. We'll touch upon two trends today. The first one is called as sub-zero waste, which revolves around sustainability. And the second one is called Clean Label, which revolves around how packaging companies play an important role in helping clean beauty consumers make their purchase decisions. So we'll start with the first one, which is called as sub-zero waste. We are seeing that when it comes to product launches, brands in India are increasingly making claims that revolve around ethical and environmental friendly products. This chart comes from our global new product database, which we call as GNPD, which tracks launches across the globe, be it food and drink, be it beauty and personal care, or any such FMCG category. Now, we all know that government regulations is one of the important drivers for brands taking this eco-friendly stance. But apart from this, there are bodies like United Nations who have set up sustainable development goals for the countries. And each of these 17 goals has specific targets that need to be met by the year 2030. These goals revolve around climate action, life below water, life on Earth, and responsible consumption and production. You would also be very interested to know that India, in fact, is not the top consumer of plastic. But the larger problem is that India has poor waste management rates. In fact, out of 33 million pounds of plastic waste that gets generated, only about 20 million pounds are collected and recycled in some form. As consumers become more aware of the situation around them, we did this survey in India and tried to ask the consumers as to what is it that concerns them the most about the environment around them. We got some interesting responses around concerns like air pollution, water pollution, so on and so forth. But one of the interesting insights that we got from this survey that we conducted in India with 3,000 consumers is that over a quarter of them, that is 27%, said that they're concerned about garbage disposal and treatment. But there's only so much that a consumer can do on their own. They still expect brands to take the lead and help them in facilitating the process of environmental sustainability. In light of this, big brands like Unilever and P&G have already taken initiatives. Unilever, for example, says that its 2025 goal is that 100% of its plastic packaging will be fully reusable, recyclable, or compostable. On the other hand, P&G has also set similar goals, where they say that by 2030, 100% of their packaging will be recyclable or reusable. Speaking of recyclability, brings me to the topic of sachets, because I'm sure that you would agree that sachets are the most common form of packaging when it comes to India. Unilever has taken one such initiative to deal with this problem. What they do is, with their network, they go to various places and collect these sachets. And with the help of their technology, which is called as the Creasolve plant, they kind of process these waste sachets and turn them into new sachets. But what's more interesting is that they do not only collect sachets of their own plastic waste or their own products, but they collect sachets of their competitors as well. But sustainability is not just about recycling. It's something beyond that as well, right? So let's see what are some of the opportunities that lie beyond just recycling. One of such example is of a product called as Second Chance Mascara. Basically, what this product does is that, I'm sure all of you would agree, especially the ladies in this room, that when you start using your mascara, after a few months, it tends to become dry. So here's a solution for that. Just add a few drops of this product and the mascara will return to its original state. This helps in preventing the need to discard the mascaras more often. The second approach that brands are taking is the approach of enabling consumers to repair rather than wasting the product. All of us are guilty, especially the ladies in this room, of dropping our compact powders or our eyeshadow palettes that tend to break, right? And we tend to throw them then in the waste bin. This particular kit comes with that solution. It actually has a bottle which has a solution in it that you just have to put on that palette and then dab it with the tools that you see in this image, something like a spatula, and that product will return to its original state. But when we speak of packaging, the first word that comes to our mind is plastic, right? And when we are thinking about waste reduction, there's also a very big need, clearly, to rethink plastic and see if there is anything else that can replace it. One such brand called as Reese, and this comes from Taiwan, what they basically do is they make beauty and personal care products with rice as the hero ingredient. But what's more interesting about this brand is that not only are their products made out of rice, but the outer packaging, that is the bottle itself, is made out of rice bran. Another example that I would like to highlight here is from India. It's called as Shunya. This is basically an oral hygiene brand. It makes toothpaste and toothbrushes that are made out of bamboo and not plastic. But what's more interesting is that the outer box, that is the covering of the toothbrush, is also made of an entirely recycled material. Consumers who are really serious about sustainability and also look for value for money at the same time will be frustrated if they are not able to use the entire product until its last drop. So here's an innovation which is called as the last drop concept, where if you see, it's a little packaging tweak, if you just look at the images on the slide here. So basically, the bottle has a cone-shaped reservoir at the bottom rather than having a flat bed, so that any contents that are there at the bottom get deposited in that cone-shaped reservoir, and the consumer is actually able to use the entire product versus the last few drops that usually get left if it is a flatbed packaging. Utility is great, right? But when it comes to consumers, providing them with fun and convenience is also an important element. Here's an example of a toothpaste. Now, traditionally, we are used to seeing toothpaste in like a tube format, but this particular innovation comes in a pouch format. There are these little pouches that are sealed with a fresh breath film that is completely dilutable in the mouth. And on the inside of it, it has the actual toothpaste, which helps in whitening the teeth. And it's very easy to use. Just pop it in your mouth and brush as usual, and it gets dissolved in your mouth itself, leaving no need to throw something out there in the dustbin. One more example is a makeup pencil, basically. Now, when our makeup pencils tend to get over, the next step is to obviously throw it in the dustbin, right? But here's an innovation by a company called Sprouts, where first of all, they produce 100% biodegradable makeup pencils. What's beautiful about it is that when the makeup pencil gets over, just turn it upside down and plant it in a pot rather than throwing it away in a dustbin, because on the tip of it, it has a capsule that contains seeds. So basically, what would have ended up in the trash can, you will see that blossoming into a flowering plant. Fun, convenience, utility, all of that is great. But at the end of the day, we are humans, right? We love discounts and we love incentives. And that's what exactly the consumers are also saying. Mintel conducted this survey in Brazil, and close to 50% of the consumers said that it's fine, we are okay to be a part of sustainability and return our empty packages, but we want a discount in return of it on the future products. Some brands are taking a note of this need. For example, Bare Necessities in India is a personal care brand. First of all, what it does is that it does not sell its products in plastic packaging. It sells it in reusable glass jars. And what they say is that if you return 5 of these bottles, you'll get a discount on your next purchase. I would like to sum up this trend by saying that when it comes to environmental sustainability, price is going to play a very important role. And when I say an important role, it's not really a motivating role. Price is going to play a demotivating role because any packaging innovation will come at a cost which will eventually be passed on to the consumer. And here's the catch. If you increase the cost, nobody is going to buy that product. So let's take an inspiration from another category, that is the home care category. This particular example is from Unilever. What they've done is that they have created a small refill pack for their home care product, which is basically a hard surface cleaner, but it does not come in the usual spray bottle. It's a small refill pack, as you will see in that image, which is made with 75% less plastic. It's more concentrated. Just turn it upside down on your existing bottle of that home care product, add some water to it, and it works just well as the original product would work. What was interesting is that when Unilever conducted a research, 40% of the people, when they looked at this bottle, they assumed that it would be at a higher cost compared to the original packaging. But it turned out that it's actually being sold at a lower price, which means that this is a great way to make beauty affordable and at the same time sustainable. This is the end of the first trend. We will move to the second trend. While the first trend concentrated more on packaging design, the material, and some initiatives around recycling, this particular trend concentrates more on the design aspect of packaging in terms of how on-pack communication can help clean beauty consumers make a better purchase decision. We are seeing that consumers are increasingly showing an interest in clean beauty. For example, close to 40% of the female consumers in the US say that they avoid toxic ingredients like parabens and sulfates. Similarly, in India, 34% of Indian consumers say that they see natural brands as more trustworthy. And a whooping close to 70% of female consumers in the US say that they have used clean beauty products, and not only that, but they would like to use it again. Now, all of these stats come from the surveys that Mintel has conducted in these respective countries. But let's take a look at India in terms of the innovations that are happening or the launches that are happening. This again comes from our global new products database that tracks launches across the globe. What we are seeing is that when it comes to beauty and personal care products in India, there is an increase in the free from claims that the brands are making. Free from claims could range anything from, say, paraben free to sulfate free to silicone free, so on and so forth. But while clean beauty concentrates more on ingredients, there is a very big role that packaging can also play, because even before a consumer buys a product or experiences the ingredient or the product itself, it's what's on the outside makes it appealing to the consumer and helps them make a purchasing decision. And that's where packaging comes into place. This brings me to the concept of essentialism, and I'll try to explain this with the help of an example from an adjacent category, which is the food and drink category. If you look at the first image here, which says minimalism, this is from a brand called as Hatsu, which is essentially a Colombian drinks brand. The first image here is very clear if you look at the packaging. It just has the brand name and the name of the product. Basically, this brand took clean label very seriously, and they just put in minimum details on the packaging, which was not enough for the consumer to make a purchase decision. Now look at the way they evolved. If you look at the second image there, That is a classic example of essentialism where just by adding a small nutritional panel at the bottom of the bottle, they made this change. What it did is, from the consumer's point of view, it added so much more value in terms of making a purchasing decision, because by looking at the nutritional aspect of the product, it's very easy for a consumer to identify whether the product meets their need or not. The third product again comes from the same company, but if you look at the packaging, it's very cluttered. It has a lot of words on it, it's very text heavy, and there is a huge chance that it would end up leaving the consumer confused about what the product is all about, and it could also end up diluting the brand's identity. But that was about food and drink and some inspiration from an adjacent category. Let's see what's happening in the beauty and personal care space. Here's an example from Gillette. If you look at the packaging, it has a lot of colors on it. It's basically very text heavy, all confusing, which is obviously very typical of this category. On the other hand, we have another example of a razor from a brand called Harry's, and we are carrying this product today. So after the presentation, if you just want to take a look, you could take a look at it. Now, this is a classic example of essentialism, where if you see, they have actually stripped down whatever words were there initially on the front of the pack, and they have just mentioned minimum details which are enough for a consumer to make a purchase decision. So it just has the quantity of the blades that go into the pack, it has the quantity of razors and the color of the razor that goes into it. Another example is from a dermocosmetic brand which calls itself as a clean label brand, basically because it says that it's made out of ingredients that are enough for a product like this, rather than cluttering it with too many ingredients. What they also say is that they are made into a manufacturing system which is in a clean room, and it filters the germs and microorganisms, not just at the manufacturing stage, but also at the packaging stage. Now, in terms of packaging, this is very interesting because it comes in two parts. One is the ampule, that is the bottle that you see at the bottom of the box. But on the top of the box, if you see, it comes with a cotton mask pack. If you look at the second image here, which is of that ampule itself, it follows a very essentialistic approach where on the pack it just says that this is the name of our company, this is the name of the product, and this is the function of it, which is derma repair basically. And right on the front of the pack, they are using the word clean to indicate that they are a clean label brand. Let's see how this actually works. So basically, pour a little bit of liquid from that bottle in your hand and apply it on your skin. Whatever ingredient or whatever product is remaining into it, just put it on that cotton mask pack and apply that mask on your face. So basically, it's like a 2-in-1 product, packaged something like this again. Now, it's interesting to see that brands are going to the extent of actually highlighting clean on the front of the pack. But do consumers really understand what is clean? Or do they have a standard definition for clean, or is it very different from what you perceive as clean and I perceive as clean? So Mintel conducted some research again, and we did some social listening and tried to understand what is it that clean means to consumers. And we got varied responses like green beauty, cruelty-free, ranging from natural to organic, etc., etc., which clearly indicates that consumers are divided over the meaning of clean beauty, and there is no such standard definition. What it means is that brands, rather than using a vague term like clean on the front of the pack, there is a need to use a term which is more recognizable on pack. So let's see this with an example of Lush, which is essentially a premium beauty brand. Now, first of all, in terms of packaging, what they did was that they launched their Naked collection of products, which is basically completely packaging free. But it's interesting that even though the products don't have an outer covering, they are actually making use of the product itself to communicate what the brand stands for and how it's actually clean. With such kind of non-packaging, I would say, not even packaging because there's no packaging involved at all in this product, there obviously comes an element of format innovation as well. So something that is liquid cannot obviously be completely packaging free. So Lush has actually innovated very well. They have turned a shampoo into a bar. So the red circle-like thing that you actually see in the center of your screen is actually a shampoo. But they're using the product itself to communicate that it's cruelty-free, and that's how they are trying to bring in an element of cleanliness in their product. But in cases where they are not able to go completely packaging free, what they're doing is that they're using terms like handmade or vegan friendly or highlighting the ingredient on the front of the pack to indicate that they are a clean label brand. And also those bottles are made with 100% recycled plastic. This is basically the last slide of my presentation. So good for you guys because now you can actually take a chance to kind of take a look at the products that we've actually displayed. But I'll sum it up by saying that while material innovation is important, as we saw in that first trend, which revolves around sustainability, packaging design plays an equally important role. Now, if you look at this image, this comes from a survey that we did. Basically, what we did is that we went out and we asked consumers that where is it that you look for natural and organic claims on a product pack? And if you see those red colored dots there, those are the places where consumers look most for natural and organic claims. And if you see, most of it is concentrated on the front of the pack, rather than the back of the pack, which is mostly green in color. Now, what that means is that while it's important for the consumers to know about ingredients, the list of ingredients is not that important, which goes back to the concept of essentialism, that by providing just a few important elements about the product or the ingredients does the trick rather than confusing the consumers with too much information. That's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, we are open to it, or we can take it up one-on-one if you would like to do that while you take a look at the products. We also have Sufyan, who is from our business development team. If you would like to know more about Mintel's products and tools, we'll be happy to talk about it with you while you're taking a look at the products. And we also have our email ID here if you would like to inquire more about Mintel's services.
You can all have a look at the products. Meanwhile, Sakshi, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We've been talking about clean beauty since yesterday. We had one whole session on clean beauty. Okay, we've been talking on sustainability also since yesterday. But yesterday we were more to do with ingredients. Today it's of course our packaging day, and there's a lot of learnings we had on packaging. And I hope we don't make mistakes that we all tend to. At least I know 5 people who have made all these mistakes. So, and we should take the help of experts. That I agree. So, Sakshi, thanks a lot. Presentation is not really that. Let me see. Plaplu, plaplu, and
ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಾಪ್ಲ